shocked.
Welcome back, Crackle Addicts. I'm Lupine Fiasco. This is Daily Fab Gameplay, and there is a lot to talk about. Last weekend was a big one for the early Rosetta meta. Between two battle hardens in Sydney and Milwaukee and calling Lyon, this was a massive opportunity to see what players expected the meta to look like and how they're building for it. I'll compare the Aurora top 8 lists from the events to see what we can learn about building Aurora as we head into the first week of the ProQuest season. As always, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel here on YouTube, please consider doing so. I'm posting Aurora gameplay reviews, deck techs, and more, and you won't want to miss it. Links to my Twitter, Discord, and Patreon are in the video description below. Let's get right into it with a comparison of Bartosz Ziemba's top 8 calling list and Sam Dando's, Tom Wynn's, and Ethan Dominy's top 8 battle-hardened lists. That's a lot of red, starting right from the equipment suite, so let's begin there. All 4 lists include Dyadic Carapace, Fiendal Spring Tunic, Grasp of the Arknight, Lightning Greaves, Shock Charmers, and Starfall. From this, we can tell that top Aurora players value the ability to block with armor. Carapace, Grasp, and Greaves can cover 5 damage all at once, with another 2 on the back end. All 3 offer additional utility. Greaves and Carapace provide all the arcane barrier you'll need. Grasp is a resource outlet for Channel Lightning Valley end of turn triggers that also threatens a CLV draw effect, and Greaves has combo potential with Gone in a Flash. Tunic can pay for Starfall attacks on an all-red hand, providing multiple resources in long games, or a couple crucial points of damage in a short one, depending on whether you play it or Carapace in aggro mirrors. Shock Charmers is an easy hedge against Kano, who, despite losing his books, refuses to become relevant. And finally, Starfall has proven to be a very good weapon that easily fits into our turn cycles. Regarding differences, many can be summed up by playstyle or respect for certain heroes. Balance of Justice in Sam's list indicates a respect for Brute that the rest of this field doesn't share. Similarly, you would only play Spellfree Tiara as insurance against Kano, and Reaping Blade for Verdance or Count Your Blessings. Face Purgatory is the most polarizing card for Aurora deck building. You either value it for its power or ignore it for its condition. Notice that none of these decks are playing Crown of Providence and Face Purgatory. It's one or the other. The disruption and filtering offered by Face is obviously very strong, but needing to include more non-attack actions in your deck, draw them with an attack action, and want to block with them all on the same turn is quite the hoop to jump through. Sam and Ethan chose the consistency, protection, and deck-building flexibility offered by Crown of Providence, while Bartosz and Tom opted for the higher risk and reward of Face Purgatory. Either Ironweave and Crown of Dominion warrant a larger discussion about the validity of the Flicker Wisp combo. How good is it overall? How good is it in specific matchups? And do you expect to see those specific heroes against which it is good? Ethan is the only one of these 4 who values the full combo enough to play the entire thing, though admittedly with only 2 copies of Flicker Wisp. As we'll see below, Bartosz played Flicker Wisp, but not the equipment suite to combo with it. Segueing into the decks themselves, we again see a few similarities and a lot of differences. Where all 4 decks align most is on the Lightning Instance and 0 for 4s. Surprising to no one, 2-card 7s, 8s, and 9s are very strong. Arcanic Shockwave, Enlightened Strike, Entwine Lightning, Static Shock, and Snatch are present in every list despite not being lightning, due to their power or flexibility with embodiments of lightning. Flittering Charge, Gone in a Flash, and Lightning Surge fill out the lightning attack suite, and Burn Up, Electrostatic Discharge, and Lightning Press make the cut on power, plus the ability to support Gone in a Flash mini combos. After that, deck building and play priorities start to become more apparent. In his deck tech with DM Armada, Sam talked about the inconsistency he found from drawing too many copies of Command & Conquer and Electromagnetic Somersault in the same hand, which is why he plays 1 and 2 respectively. Exude Confidence can be a house against defensive decks, though Aurora herself has the potential to outrace those decks without it. Cutting the card can also be a concession to Earth heroes, whose Fellings and Plow Unders turn off the effect once the hero is online. Fry and Sizzle fill similar slots, as Lightning Go Again starters. It's worth noting that Bartosz, the sole Sizzle player in this comparison, was also playing Face Purgatory. Sam, who was not on Face, specifically quoted Sizzle's non-attack action typing as a reason not to play it due to Warmonger's diplomacy, both friendly and enemy. Ravenous Rabble shows up in decks not playing Face Purgatory, which also happened to be the decks playing 9 blues in the main board rather than 12. And while I personally like Second Strike, it's conditionally good based on whether you think you can punch through your opponent's defense. Fry is a safer option for that slot if you value consistency over power. Sigil of Solace is very nice tech for supporting Gone in a Flash and Flittering Charge, while also compensating for Aurora's general dislike of blocking and her potential inability to do so. Sigil of Suffering and Sink Below occupy similar positions in the defense reaction slot. Sigil is a better choice against decks with AB0 or the frequent inability to pay for AB1, and its combo potential with Channel Lightning Valley can't be overstated. Sink Below is a safer, more consistent choice that can also provide hand fixing for better defense or offense. Ethan is the only one of the 4 playing Swarming Gloomveil, a potent card when combined with the Malefic Incantation also found in his list. In a hand with no Go Again, Gloomveil is unique in its ability to gain Go Again by pitching junk to Grasp of the Arknight. Finally, Tom brought 3 copies of the Weakest Link to prey on the Aurora Mirror, KO, and any other frequent users of non-blocks. Note here as well that he can support this by playing 12 blues. Moving on to the yellows, Arc Lightning and Channel Lightning Valley are universally accepted as incredibly powerful cards. Nothing interesting to see here, let's move on. Flicker Wisp, as previously mentioned, only showed up in 2 lists. The card excels in slower matchups where disruption is less common, and if you don't think those decks will show up or perform well, then you're better off filling the slot with something else. While its combo with Arc Lightning is very strong, Flicker Wisp on its own is rarely worth more than 3 in a turn. Tom was the only player to bring Vaporize Shock. The card is neat and has a powerful interaction with classes that generate agility, and is especially strong in the Lightning Mirror. Even if the shock damage is prevented, Vaporize can destroy an enemy Channel Lightning Valley. Let's talk about the blues. For any early speculation that Aurora would greedily play 9 to 12 blue instants to support Gone in a Flash combos, our Lightning Titanium Bauble current funnel is the only universally agreed upon blue. Outside of that, the number of blues in a deck and which blues those are is up to individual preference. As I've said, any deck playing Face Purgatory will likely play 12 blues, 3 of those being Electrify. The increase in non-attack action density is crucial for proper face usage, and the impact of a 2 blue hand is significantly lessened when 1 is being used defensively and likely trading up into a red. Blink is almost universally used due to its interaction with Gone in a Flash. Ethan left his at home in favor of the 3 block value provided by Heaven's Claws. Sigil of Lightning was similarly beloved for the same reason, though Bartosz made a concession to the block value of Claws. Sam was the only player to respect Count Your Blessings by bringing Poison the Well, and considering CYB Enigma's top 4 finish at Lyon, this may be a worthwhile inclusion for Aurora going forward. Aside from its lack of the lightning type, the card fits very well into what Aurora is doing overall. Finally, 3 of the 4 decks played Warmonger's Diplomacy, which makes sense given the popularity and power of Viserai and, to a lesser extent, Azalea. It's worth noting that the only deck to not include Warmongers was the only one playing Sizzle, which is an argument against Sizzle. That's a lot of information to process and should inform a few changes in many Aurora deck lists. Let's briefly talk about the ones I've made. First, Balance of Justice is in. I've been trying to combo out my brute opponents, who I believe win faster than we do thanks to their armor playing a stronger defense than ours, and the impact of Scowling Fleshbag cannot be overstated, but finding the pieces and dodging disruption is tough. Balance gives me more block value, as does the Dyadic Carapace I'm now allowed to play, and helps me catch up or stay ahead after a Blood Rush turn. Notably, Balance of Justice also helps with the Dash matchup after she gets Cerebellum Processor mid-October. Snapdragon Scalers, which is completely out of left field, but that I'll explain in a minute, is back in and feeling great. Lightning Greaves is nice for its point of block value, but I've found that the effect is very difficult to use well. Rather than rate my boots at 1 point of value in a race, I can instead snap a clunky hand for a minimum of 4. A Singular Fry is in to maintain lightning density, while increasing attack and go-again density on arc lightning turns, the latter of which also applies to Photon Rush. Finally, I'm taking a cue from our pros and adding Sigil of Suffering. Being able to block for 4 in the aggro mirror and deal a point of damage makes Sigil a 1-card 5, and even a 1-card 8 if I have CLV on board. Eat your heart out, Victor. Now for the cuts. After another week of testing and meta evaluation, I've decided to disrespect Wizard, he says as he prepares for another ProQuest season as Majin-based local. Verdant has felt easy enough to beat without Reaping Blade, which has limited effectiveness anyway, if they're able to drop below your life total before playing another Count Your Blessings, Sigil of Solace, or Rampant Growth. Exude Confidence has felt very unnecessary, as I'm already teched to beat defensive decks with Flicker Wisp, and making space for another generic attack without Go Again is tough. As a brief aside, that's my reasoning for excluding Coke's Commotion as well. 1 copy of Sigil of Lightning got the axe, as I was drawing too many 2-blue hands for my liking. And finally, we come to the most contentious cut of all, Lightning Press. I know, blasphemy, right? Before you come for me in the comments, let me explain. I'm aware that Lightning Press helps us connect with Snatch, Static Shock, Burn Up, and CLV. I know that it's a lightning card for fusing and pitching, and I understand that it can end a game against a low-life opponent who didn't or couldn't respect it. Here are some other things I know. It isn't an attack, and doesn't help us break Aether Ironweave on a combo turn. It doesn't go again, so it doesn't deal bonus damage with Arc Lightning. Similar to Reckless Swing, the threat of press is often more impactful than the press itself and doesn't necessitate playing the card. It has no block value and therefore can't protect a combo piece in Arsenal from Command and Conquer. Likewise, it's affected by the weakest link and can't be played in response to the trigger. The aggro decks against which Aurora struggles, Dash, Zen, and KO, aren't blocking anyway, in which case you're playing Zap. Conditional Zap. Lightning Press off the top of the deck won't end the game or trigger Burn Up or CLV if it has nothing to target. Photon Rush has none of these problems. It comes with its own, of course, but in those cases you can usually just block for 3 to preserve life until you find your out. Credit for this idea, as well as for Snapdragon Scalers, goes to Guillaume Las Harris Alexandri on Team Value Vampires. If I'm being honest, I've been dissatisfied with press for some time and was looking for an excuse to cut it. Seeing Guillaume finish 12th in Lyon gave me the confidence to pull the trigger, and so far I've been very satisfied with the change. I'm not married to Rush in the slot and may find myself trying a split of more Fry and Sigil of Solace, which Sam sold me on very well in his deck tech. In any case, testing continues and we have a lot of new information to work with. Expect a flood of deck techs this month as people post their winning ProQuest decks and videos. I fully intend to be one of them. To those of you playing this weekend, good luck. I'll be shooting my first shot next weekend with a second try the following Saturday. In the meantime, expect more Aurora gameplay reviews and deep dives, and until the next time I see you on Daily Fab Gameplay, take care.